and they became builder just from me talking about it. It wasn't, it was us talking about our business. And they're like, oh no, I want to do that. It was like they didn't even listen to the presentation or nothing. They were just ready to go. They were ready for a change. And so, if I'm not mistaken, he's supposed to be on the call. He said he's on here, Michael Dorr. So we're so looking forward to running with him and just making life great, living life.
Okay, that is amazing. I love those success stories. Miss Leslie Johnson, you can go ahead and unmute yourself and share your win for the week. I think you're still muted if you're trying to speak. Okay, we'll give you some time. Mr. Philip Johnson, if you want to unmute and share your win for the week, you can go ahead now.
Hello, everyone. Sarah and everyone. This week I am actually excited because I came from Paris, and basically since because I was on a trip there with my fiance, and basically Mr. Bean, we had a three-way with him the other day, and I'm excited. She's excited about the international business, and basically, it was just amazing how she connected right off bat. And she said her English is not good, but it's definitely good enough to do the business. She's in the business with me. She's a builder. She upgraded about a month ago. So basically, that was exciting just to have her to meet Mr. Bean himself. She already knew all about him, and basically have a new guy that joined as a consultant, and he's going to bring his team on. But he pretty much already knows what we do, and he wants to get. He already got a deal with Mr. Tony Dinner in California. We did it first deal for him, so he was excited about that. And it's just being, seeing how results come when you just put in the work and you trust in your leadership. And I appreciate Mr. Bean and how he trains us and learning from you all. And that's my wins. And have another 3 with him today with some people that are interested from my fiance's side of her friends. Uh, so I'm just excited what's happening. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Okay, I'm glad that you're excited. There's definitely a lot of good things coming in build. Before I introduce anyone else for their wins, I would like to introduce Miss Dr. Arlene George. She is amazing, and she's going to be leading Crash Camp today. So take it away, Mom. We got this.
All right. Thank you, Miss Sarah. Thank you for that. I am excited about being here today. I hope you guys are excited. I see some smiling faces. I see Miss Laura Johnson is smiling. Philip, you better be smiling. You just saw your fiance. You better be smiling. But again, Philip, you talked about traveling. You talked about being in your fiance and speaking a second language. That's going to be a major plus because she probably speaks French since I heard Paris. Right? Am I right about that? Yeah. And you're all smiles, you're glowing, and that's a good thing. And we're going international. I hope you guys are excited about going international. I just came back from Curacao. They speak Deutsch, they speak German, they speak Papapia. I never get it right, but it's okay. I'm gonna get it right. They speak multiple languages, and I felt like a fish out of water not speak all those languages with them. All I did was give them my un poquito español and moved on from there. But Philip, to have a partner, just to have a partner in this business, is good, is amazing. That partnership, because like Sabrina and Eddie, like Mr. and Mrs. Bean, all of these Matt Acosta and Roxy, all of these partnerships, they're power couples, but they're powerful in their own right. They don't step on each other's toes. And if they do, they say ouch and they apologize and they keep on going. Right. So Philip, I'm excited for you that you have a partner coming alongside you in this business. And your partner doesn't have to be your spouse. Thanks, Sabrina. Exactly. Well done, Philip. It doesn't have to be a spouse. For me, my partners are my young adults, some kids anymore. But being able to have that partnership, that's important. know my-
Mom,
Yeah, my camera, I'm moving this thing too much. Miss Laura, go ahead.
Oh, well, hi, Dr. Harleen and everyone else, but Leslie Johnson had her hand raised, so if you would recognize her first.
Absolutely. I don't see it numbered here. Miss Leslie Johnson, let's go.
Thank you, Dr. George. Thank you, Ms. Laura, for recognizing that. I'm so happy and grateful for Mr. and Mrs. B allowing us to share this platform. I'm just so excited. I was trying to get, when Sarah was called by name, I was trying to unmute, but there was challenges, but I'm so excited. Quick win. I want to thank Mrs. Laura Johnson and the corporate team itself for allowing me to host on Tuesday night. Oh my goodness. As Laura said, when she called me, I was, oh, what? You want me? She said, Leslie, you can do this. So anyway, she just be calm, relax, take your time. So I think I'm so happy and grateful for that moment. To me, this is history, you know? And my second one, I want to thank Mr. Idris Alaka for last week, whereas he was so patient with the customer. And in the end, she got solar. So I'm just happy and grateful for Mr. Idris and all his continuous support. So I'm excited, got some utility bill to collect, and also I'm getting an affiliate. So thank you for allowing me to share, Dr. George.
Oh, you are more than welcome. Win, win, win. That's what we do. We win. And as Leslie said, she won on multiple fronts. You know, Mr. Bean, Mr. and Mrs. Bean always talk about personal development. Angel is a personal development guru, right? And Mr. and Mrs. Bean talk about that all the time. But I've watched Miss Leslie Johnson just grow and develop over time to the point where she is now comfortable with one of the most challenging skills for individuals across the board, and that's public speaking. So I'm excited for you, Leslie, that you are getting comfortable in that and you're moving forward. You have a great mentor in Miss Laura Johnson, and that's why you're making those strides. Not only have you put the personal work in to develop, but you have a leader that's right there helping you to develop, and that's important. Mr. Idris, I call him the smooth operator, because when you get a client in front of him, he's the epitome of what we're going to talk about today when we talk about Grant Cardone University and the magic of agreement. He is the epitome of time management or time utilization. I don't like to manage time. You've got one of the best there, Miss Leslie, when it comes to closing and when it comes to agreement, when it comes to the understanding of Grant Cardone. Idris Alaka is the epitome of that. So and then I heard some other goals too. I heard there's an affiliate there. So on all three levels, Miss Leslie was firing on all cylinders. Not only did she grow personally and get out of her comfort zone, she also closed a sale. And then on top of that, she got an affiliate. Now we would have loved to have heard builder in that, but an affiliate can become a builder, as Miss Sabrina mentioned earlier, right? She had an affiliate who became a builder, working on all cylinders, firing all those cylinders. That's what we do. As you can see, I have my foresight on here, right? I've survived leadership boot camp, right? And that I survived leadership boot camp was my first exposure to foresight and to the Foresight family. I'd only known the Beans a couple of months. And I told my kids, I'm going to Puerto Rico. And they're like, going to Puerto Rico when? And I said, the Beans. And they said, isn't that couple you just started investments with? I said, yeah. They said, and you're going to Puerto Rico? I said, yeah. They said, do you know them like that? I said, yeah. And I went there and I met Miss Laura, and I met so many wonderful people. But more importantly than meeting these people is that these people have helped me to grow over the past 2.5 years. And they've been there to support me to move out of the box of being a physician and move into the box of being a business owner. So this system works. And Miss Leslie, you are showing and firing that on all levels. Let me see which other, Miss Laura, you're up.
Well, thank you for allowing me to share, and good morning, family. I'm just so excited about everything. Mostly because of the system that Mr. and Mrs. Bean have put together and put in place for us to grow and develop. You know, it is like the perfect storm for each and every one of us, even though we are each unique and different from each other. The system supports each of us in growing. So my win for this week is the observation that it's growth, it's spring. Ladies and gentlemen, it's spring. And so it's the time of renewal, it's the time of growth, it's the time of just freshness, right? And so my observation is that my team has been growing and maturing. They have been taking on greater and greater responsibilities. We have been growing in terms of numbers. We are maturing in terms of our ability to follow the system, as Mr. Bean often says, exactly without deviation. And so when you do that, you get results. And that process is a process of building trust. You know, it's building trust in the system itself, because oftentimes, you know, we have our own thinking about the way things should be done. And sometimes that thinking is not exactly along the ways of the system. But for us to be able to relinquish our thinking and adhere to the system, because we have the faith and the confidence and the trust that the system works. And so that's something that I've grown into, and over the years, actually, since I've been with the Beans, I really have just proven that it really works. It works when you do the work. It works when you follow the system, and you don't have to be afraid. You could just do what is required, and the results will come. And also being persistent, because sometimes it doesn't come on day one, but it will definitely come. So I'm just excited about the growth that I see, and knowing that people in my organization are soon to be Builder 500s and beyond. So thank you for allowing me to share, because that's a huge win. And I see it in everybody. I see it like when I opened the meeting and saw Miss Sarah, you know, hosting. That was like, you know, that means so much, you know, to see the growth of the different people. When I asked Leslie to host me this week, you know, when I did the corporate, that was huge, you know, because I knew it was a major step. But as you see people take these major steps, you know, I had one of my builders attend the Triple C mixer in Houston. So, you know, the growth is happening all over. And so I'm just really, really excited, because I know that company is doing, it's going to be explosive. So that's it. I'll shut up now. All right. Thank you for allowing me to share.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime, Miss Laura. And I mean, you dropped some nuggets. Work, persistence, growth, opportunity, work, persistence, growth, opportunity. The fact that, you know, you have to put the work in. Whether the work is with your spouse and making it work, whether the work is in this business, whether the work is in your body and keeping your health, all of that's important. Every single aspect of that is important. And to put that work in and be persistent in that work, you know, and that part of that persistence, being persistent about it, is also being consistent about it. Persistent and consistent. You can't go to the gym one day and work out for 24 hours. First of all, you won't be able to move after that. Let's start there. But second of all, you're not going to see the same results as if you go to the gym 30 minutes to 45 minutes to an hour, 5 days a week, 6 days a week. That's that persistence, even when you don't feel like it. It's the same thing with your phone calls and prospecting. Even when you don't feel like it, put that work in. Angel has a system. And you talked about that, Miss Laura, the system. Angel has a system for not only meeting people online, but for meeting people in person. And she is consistent and she is persistent with that. And that's why Angel Trend is growing like gangbusters, because she's persistent and she's consistent. That's why Sabrina, I see the growth. I see the emotion in Sabrina. Why? Because she's persistent and she's consistent, and she knows that inside of her, there's more. There's more that hasn't even come out yet. But Sabrina, stay persistent, stay consistent, do the work like Miss Laura just mentioned, and those results will come. And that giant that's inside of you that's roaring to get out, man, when you set her loose, all the rest of us are going to sit back, because they say when you set yourself on fire, the world's going to come to watch. And that's what's going to happen with you, Sabrina. When you set yourself on fire and you truly let that giant free, all the rest of us, we're going to sit, we're going to watch, and we're going to celebrate. That's what we do as a team. So let me see. I see Angel has a hand up here. Go ahead, Angel.
Hi. Well, first of all, I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. Bean for this platform. I just love every Saturday morning because it just energizes me with all these lovely people, and just, knowing that this family is here, right? So, and I'm super, super excited to see you, Doc, and Miss Sarah here. So I'm super excited about what we're going to learn today and what you'll be sharing. And thank you so much for hosting. My wins for this week is we had a great event on Tuesday. I want to thank Sabrina and Eddie for doing an amazing job of putting that, together and having it run smoothly, as well as, and then it's been, everybody that has gone there loved it. They had such a great time. And then, doing, always getting that coaching and everything. I had that game planning session with Mr. Bean. When I haven't put it on social media. That's one thing that I need to work on that you mentioned about social media. That's where I need to post more, right, as far as engagement wise. But I was able to take them out to celebrate my Builder 2000, to say thank you for all that they've given me. And I got some great coaching, of course, on there about what I should do and what I should do to hit, Builder 2000, and, putting together more presentations like I used to do, Doc, when you remember when I did 6 to 8 presentations a day. So that's coming back up again. I was able to do 2, started with 2 presentations, and now next week I'm going to work on 4 per day. So my wins is that thanks to, the new system, my Builder 2000 hit on the 15th. Yes. Of the month instead of the end of the month. So that's been amazing. And went back out to network and with Gage yesterday, and and it's not about the event. So the event when we showed up was like 5 to 10 people, and 5 of those people were sponsors, right? But the event that we came, the person who was running the event actually is an EXP realtor who has 1,800 agents. So that's a win, right? Even though that there was only 5 people I could really network with, right? Like that were great, but it's not about quantity, it's about quality. So thank you for allowing me to share.
Thank you, Angel, for sharing your wins. Win, win, win. That's what we do. An Angel Trend, she is a true leader, servant leader. She doesn't put herself first. She puts the team first. Of the Foresight family. right? And service to that Forsyth family. Whether you're on her team or not, Angel serves day in and day out. Every other Monday, she does role play, which is a big part of Grant Cardone University that we took as a team and incorporated as a team. So today, our training is going to be out of Sell or Be Sold, because for many years, many of us participated. That Miss Laura was an angel provider. Miss Angel was an angel provider. I was an angel provider, where we actually enabled others to participate in Grant Cardone University, and we actually paid for that. Why? Because we saw the value in it. Why? Because our leaders, Mr. and Mrs. Bean, saw the value on developing us, because iron sharpens iron, and we're only as strong as our weakest link. What does that mean? It means that if we're not sharpening ourselves, we can't sharpen someone else. And that's what Grant Cardone University does for us. It sharpens us. It gives us a toolkit that we could pull out at any time to utilize. And our leaders, Mr. and Mrs. Bean, they saw that. They saw the value in that. And now we're beginning to see the fruits of that, when they had the foresight to see it before we even knew that we needed it. All right? I'm going to give you, today I'm going to speak about agreement. And rule number 1 is always, always, always agree with the customer. Grant Cardone says that over and over and over again. Now, agree. He didn't say that you had to agree that they were correct. He said you had to agree. And I'm going to show you how I used that on my vacation, and how the manager of the resort did not use that, and therefore ended up with the result that he did. So I went to Curacao with my family. My sister, my wonderful older sister, did all the planning, because I was so busy. I usually help her plan. And she booked this resort, an all-inclusive resort. And I'm like, okay, we're good. And then we get there. And first of all, we pull up, and I said, Dr. George is not staying in places like this, but my sister booked it, so I'm going to honor it. So, and then it was downhill from there. It went downhill so fast that I said, I need to speak with the manager. The manager comes, and he's immediately what? Disagreeing and combative. What did I just say? Tell me, would somebody unmute and tell me what I just said about the customer?
Always, always, always agree with the customer.
Always, always,
Yes.
always agree with the customer. You don't come into the customer and say, nothing I'm going to do is make you happy, because I heard that you don't want to stay at my resort. Excuse me, Mr. Manager. And this is in the middle of the hallway, the reception area. So I shake his hand and I say, Mr. Manager, my name is Dr. George, and we're going to have this conversation in your office. And we go to his office, but he continues to disagree the entire time. Nothing, disagree. Broke the rule until he finally said something that I felt we could agree upon. And that was, we're going to find you a way, that this is not the resort for you for the next 8 days. And I said, Mr. Manager, we finally have something that we can agree upon, with a smile on my face. I said, I completely agree with you that is what we should do. So you said you need some space. So I'm going to give you some space to find solutions. And are you coming to my room, or am I coming back to your office for this resolution? Needless to say, we didn't stay there. Full refund and transportation to the next resort. That agreement drill, we're going to work on that today, because disagreement is not what we want to do. And this is the single most violated rule in sales: agreeing and being agreeable. If you want agreement, you have to be what? agreeable. Disgruntled resort vacationer, right? Whether it's a client for solar, whether it's a client for alkaline water, whether it's someone who's a potential business partner, agreement is important. With agreement, because the customer is not always right, but you can always agree with the customer. So let's try this, right? We all know the agreed positions when it's to solar. If we're gonna look at solar, right? Own versus rent, big dog savings, and the fourth one always evades me, but it'll come right back to me. So I'm going to start off with the own versus rent, right? And Miss Laura, I want you to tell me that you only want to rent your utilities. You only want to rent your electricity.
I
Go
only
ahead.
want to rent my electricity. I don't want to own anything.
Miss Laura, I absolutely agree with you that renting at times can be the best.
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because I'm too old now to be buying stuff.
Miss Laura, see, that's why we're sitting here today. I agree. You if you're too old to buy stuff, you're too old to buy stuff. But what I found, Miss Laura, is you're still buying stuff. You still buy lipstick?
Well, of course.
What else do you still buy?
My groceries, of course.
You still buy groceries, right? And you still buy electricity, don't you? Because you're renting it, so really you're like buying it from the electric company, correct?
Well, I guess you're right about that.
All right. Thank you, Miss Laura. Mika, you're up next, because I'm going to need you to unmute. Michael. Can you unmute? Great.
Good morning.
So good morning. So I'm going to say to you, right? I'm going to talk to you about owning your electricity. And you're going to tell me why you don't want to own your electricity. Okay? So excited about sharing with you how you're going to own your electricity.
You know, I really don't want to own my electricity. I just want to rent. I'm not wanting to make any long-term commitments.
I understand what you're saying, Mike. What I think I heard you say was that you'd rather rent than own your electricity. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
And you don't want to make any long-term commitments. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Right. And I would rather rent than own if it makes sense. And I would also rather not make a long-term commitment if it doesn't make sense to make that commitment. So I agree with you 100% that, renting could be a good option for you. And Mike, let me ask you this. Would you consider a lease a rent?
Yes.
Okay, good. And when it comes to long-term commitment, what's a long-term commitment to you? What does that look like?
I don't know, like 10 years.
Like 10 years. All right. Thank you for that, Mike. Thank you. And I know you're new to us, so welcome. And you did good on the spot.
Thank you.
Again, you're welcome. You're welcome. Huh?
I said without coffee.
Without coffee. Get the coffee. That means you might be off the chain with coffee.
Well,
that'll be good.
We'll try.
Okay, sounds good. You see how that went? Agreeing. It didn't mean that I agreed that a lease is the best thing for Mike or renting is the best thing for Mike. But I agreed with Mike that was how Mike felt about coming into the scenario. He felt as though he did not want to rent. And I acknowledged what he felt and what he thought. And I agreed with it. I didn't go for the clothes. I didn't fight him like, How stupid is it that you would rather pay, you would rather rent it than buy it than own it? I didn't go there. Why? Because disagreements repel. Grant Cardone, if you're listening to the book, Sell or Be Sold, or if you're reading the book, Sell or Be Sold, Grant Cardone talks about oil and water. That agreement and disagreement can be like oil and water. Agreement attracts. Disagreement is like oil and water. It repels. So being agreeable is important. And then I really want to, my exposure to Grant Cardone, and I'm going to ask some questions now. I'm going to give a quiz at the end. So you better be taking notes, because at first I had all these slides ready, but I didn't want the distraction of the slide, because sometimes you don't absorb information because you're so busy reading the slide or trying to copy that slide. Those other kinds of things. I really wanted this to be more interactive, more engaging, so an application of what we're already learning. So if you're reading the book or listening to the book, Sell or Be Sold, my exposure to Grant Cardone University has really, really made me a believer in the fact that agreement is critical to our survival, to the survival of any relationship, right? The book I read says, it is better to live at the edge of a roof than to live in a house with a contentious woman. What does contentious mean?
Disagreeable.
Quarrelsome.
Agreeing. Go ahead, let me hear that. Quarrelsome.
Quarrelsome.
Yep, that's what Miss Leslie said, quarrelsome. If you are quarrelsome, right, it is better to live at the edge or the corner of a roof. How do you think your customers feel when you start disagreeing with them and combating with them over what they think or feel or their opinion, right? So if you've ever been with a customer, you'll notice that they're more interested. A customer is actually more interested in you, in being right, in being agreeable than being right. Sometimes it doesn't about your product. You can't get that customer to hear about your product because you're too disagreeable. I'm gonna let that sink in. Agreement. Don't fight people. Agree with them. Don't fight them. I don't want your stinking solar. Not everyone wants my stinking solar. I agree. You don't want my stinking solar. Right? You don't have to say it that way, but yeah. I don't want to own. I agree. You don't have to own. You can rent. I don't want a fixed amount every month that I can predict. I want a variable amount every month that I can work with. Variable is good. However, and so is fixed. And let's talk about both. Don't fight, agree with people. Idris is really good at doing that. Idris did a proposal for someone who talked about leakage of metals into the earth from our solar panels. And Idris very calmly said, I've heard that. And that sometimes I guess can happen, but let me do some research so that I can get you the information, right? He didn't say, what? The solar panels have to crack, the solar panels have to do this before it leaks into the floor. He didn't do any of that. He agreed, yes, I've heard that. Yes, that is a concern. Let me do some more research. Agree with them. And let me move over here. I've got some notes going. Agree with them. If you want people to disagree with them. Right? Chris Hart, that some of us, we attend his trainings. He is actually a student of GCU. He's look good and be right. Remember, your client, whether that client is a potential recruit, whether that client is for water, solar, home security, any of the products that we offer, because an opportunity is a product as well. Your client wants to look good and be right. Look good and be right. And the more you good and be right, the more open they're going to be to understanding your product and maybe eventually using your product. And that's a fact of the universe. There's no technology that can increase sales like the magic of agreement. I'm going to say that again, write it down. There's no technology, not AI, not any of the tools that we use to attract name and numbers when it comes to not in person. None of that technology place the magic of agreeing with people, right? It speaks to the human soul and psyche to have someone agree with them. And the fact that, you know, people want to be agreeable. They move towards people who are agreeable. Basically, people that agree with one another move towards each other, and people that disagree move apart. Right? So let's see, Latoya, I want you to disagree with me over and over and over again. Whatever I say to you, I need you to combat me.
Oh,
Okay, I know that's not your personality.
careful what you ask for, ma'am.
Come on, let's go.
Because you may
So
just get it,
Latoya,
y'all.
Latoya, I think it's a great day today.
Oh, really? Sure. I'll go with that.
Latoya, I saw this really, really, really fun event that I think we should go to.
Oh, yeah, where? What's the event?
You're supposed to disagree with me.
I know, I'm getting there. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Sorry, I said traps. I'm sorry. That's my
It's a
toxicity coming through.
gathering.
No, this
it's
is not a good
gathering.
day. No, we're not going nowhere. Let's do it.
Right. Oh, no. Right. It's a gathering for realtors that's being hosted, and I think we should go because I think we can meet a lot of great realtors there.
I don't know, like who all gonna be there for real? Is it gonna be so and so? I don't think I want to go.
Oh, okay. Latoya, I had a really, really, really great sale on some jewelry.
Oh no, I don't want no jewelry. What kind? No, I don't want no jewelry because the sale is probably cheap and probably turn green if you put too much sun and water on it. I'll pass.
How many of you will continue this conversation with, or you want to get off the phone? Which one? Give me some ones if you're staying on the phone. And give me some fire if you're about to jump off that phone like the phone is on fire. Yeah, you're about to jump off the phone, right? Carter says fire, I'm jumping off the phone. Why? Because you're being Agreement moves people together. Disagreement separates them. And, you know, when they talk about opposites attract, Latoya was being disagreeable. Were we moving towards each other or were we moving further apart? Unmute and tell me, were we moving together or were we moving apart?
Further away.
Further apart,
Further
further away.
Further apart. Exactly. And that's what disagreeing with your customer does. That customer sits back, folds their arm, and looks at you like, I'm about to plant my feet and be right. I'm about to plant my people do business, right? With people they know, like, and trust. Guess why they like you? Because you agree with them. They like being right. They could say that the sky is black. The sky is really, they didn't ask me whether or not I thought the sky was blue. They said their sky was black. Mr. Customer, absolutely, your sky is black. Right? People do business with people they know, they like, and they trust. Go ahead, Miss Carla.
So, what about some of the verbiage that we use? But however, what we just said, that can we talk about that? Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And that is that's a skill. the more you practice agreement, the more you understand that words like but negate everything before. Mr. Customer, okay, so let's see, Philip, are you in a position to unmute?
Yes, yes.
All right, so we're going to use the big dog savings, as Chris Hart calls it, and you're going to tell me that you don't need any federal incentives, state incentives, or anything like that for your solar. So, Philip, we have some great incentives. There's a 30% federal government, up to 30% federal government tax credit. We also have your state, if you're in Maryland, since you're in Maryland, Philip, which I know you're in Florida, but since you're in Maryland, Philip, Maryland also has a new grant program, and there's a lot of money that you can actually get that will offset the cost of your solar system.
Not interested. I don't want to take a investment. It's too much money. I'm satisfied with what I'm paying. I want a loan.
I understand you're not interested, but I'm telling you, all this money's on the table.
Yeah, I'm not interested. I saw this neighbor that had a lien on his property, and it just was it left a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm not interested. I don't want any loans. I would rather just continue to pay my bill.
Right, and I understand you think it's a scam. I agree that some people think that solar is a scam, but all of this money is on the table. 30% tax credit, Maryland State with the grants and everything like that. How can you not be interested in this?
Is the government really is the government really on our side? No, I'm not interested.
I understand that the government may not be on our side, but why aren't you interested? You don't like money?
I don't want any loans. I have too much to do. I don't want any loans. I appreciate you giving me the time, but I don't want any loans. I would rather stick with my utility company. They treated me right.
You don't want any loans?
No.
Do you own your house? Did you pay for your house outright?
No, I have a mortgage.
What's the mortgage then?
The mortgage is a good loan to pay. But I don't want any other loan.
Oh, so you want only good loans?
Yes, loans that I know has been stable and that's consistent, that I'm used to paying, that I'm comfortable with. I've never had solar in my life, and I just don't want another $40,000 to $60,000 investment on something come back to bite me, you know.
Okay, thank you, Philip. Thank you. Was I attracting Philip or was I repelling him?
Repelling.
Repelling. And my what did my language say about what I thought about what Philip was saying?
You were dismissive of what he was saying.
I was dismissive.
Yeah, you didn't think much.
Didn't think much of what he said. Matter of fact, to the point where I just said, "Are you serious? Are you stupid?" And my New York almost came out.
Yeah. When you said a good loan, when he said he had a good loan, you say a good loan, and then he thought about it.
Right? So people do business with people they know, like, and they trust. Was Philip anywhere closer to doing business with me than we were at the beginning?
Not at all.
Not at all. Right? So this is what you just saw is the reason that partnerships fail. It's the reason that marriages fail. And it's the main reason that you don't. That was an example of what not to do to a customer. That was not an agreement drill. So if you look at your close ratio, if you're a closer and you don't like your close ratio, go back and review your proposals if you're recording them to see how many times did you disagree with the customer, and then how many times did you agree and the actual close happen. If they say it's too much time, I need time to think about this. Absolutely. I would not want to make without taking the time to think about it. When is a good time for us to get back together? I've seen Idris do this. I've seen Dennis do this. I've seen Hans do this. And as I am approaching mentor, I'm learning those them and observing how they agree and not agree, you cannot think that the customer is right and still move them to the next phase. Like Idris, like Hans, like Dennis, actually display over and over and over again. I don't think the timing is right for you. And if you don't think the timing is right, when do you think the timing will be right? I've heard Idris say that. All right. So if you're recruiting and you're doing recruiting interviews and you're not, go back and analyze it from the lens of the perspective of, do I agree or do I disagree more? Right? Let's do a scenario now of you're doing a recruiting interview, because I know that you and Angel so you're doing a lot of recruiting interviews and a lot of different things. Let's go through the scenario now of, I am a potentially new recruit, disagree with everything I say to you about the business. So start your recruiting interview and I'm going to respond.